Hello, it is nice to be with you today, only virtually, but it's a great opportunity to share some of my views about where we are going with tourism and how tourism is so important that will enable us to take to the next stage of economic growth and prosperity for communities around the world. Allow me to share some of my slides that will see how we are going through that and talk about how smartness, nowness, and ambient tourism is going to support the communities to restart their tourism and develop for the future. I'm currently in Hong Kong Polytechnic University as a visiting professor on sabbatical from Bournemouth University, and I have the opportunity to actually discuss these things with colleagues around the globe and to develop some of my thinking around these things. As many of you will know, I edit the Tourism Review, the oldest journal in tourism and the most established journal in tourism, now in 76 years of operations, and we've come out since 1946, bringing the latest research from around the world. And last year, I've edited the Encyclopedia of Tourism Management and Marketing, which is about to come together in August 2020 as a physical kind of encyclopedia, but it's already online for you to consult and look into the different terms that we're developing there. How we need to be able to travel in order to do great things. As you remember, I said earlier, I did the Encyclopedia of Tourism Management and Marketing during the COVID lockdown, the first COVID lockdown. And of course, I had to go and complete the encyclopedia in Greece on Naxos Island, and you'll see why in a minute, because that's the Portara that you can see there, which is the temple of God Apollo in Greece. And I had the opportunity to go and complete the project in Portara and pay tribute to God Apollo for the support we had from around the world, with 1,500 people who contributed 1,250 terms for the Encyclopedia of Tourism Management and Marketing. And as I was leaving, I met this guy who is producing something that's called Arsenicor, which is a fantastic cheese from Naxos Island. His name is Babounis, and he was explaining to me how important tourism was, because if they are not tourists, they are not going to be able to sell their cheese, and they are not going to be able to feed their family. And since then, I kind of his voice is still in my head on how important tourism is for different people in different communities. Now, the encyclopedia is actually looking holistically into tourism, and it's looking into the tourism pyramid, where you've got the tourism system on top. This is where people are living in demand, are living from different regions to go to different destinations, and here you've got the transit region. We need to understand that we need resources to come into this ecosystem in order to create value, and we need equitable returns for resources utilized. This is critical for the tourism system to operate properly and develop for the benefit of all the stakeholders that are involved in this process. But the tourism system is sitting on top of the pyramid, which balances on top of the pyramid, where you need planning, management, and strategy. You need to understand and address market forces, and you need to look into exogenous variables that they are changing the conditions that you have in the marketplace, and understand how your product and your process need to face the exogenous variables in a way that can manage them best possible way. And then you've got technology and the infrastructure that supports the entire system and enables the whole system to actually function. You'll find the information here. You'll find it on the Elsevier publishing website, but you can also find on a couple of other sites that I've uploaded that, because this is my statement, and this is really what epitomizes tourism in the future and how we're going to go forward. Now, we see that we're going fast forward to 2030, and this is my research focus right now. How can we produce the process and the and the data, and how can we produce a tourism industry, and how can we produce students and graduates that they've got the skills to operate in the 2030. And 2030 sounds many years ahead, but actually it's only 8 years away. And by 2030, we need to address the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So we need to be in a position to actually address and engage with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and support communities to achieve those goals. And I think tourism is one of the most critical elements in doing this. Now, creativity is just connecting things. This is what Steve Jobs was saying when he produced the first Macintosh computer, the first Apple computer. And this is me in '87 with the first computer. And ever since, I've been connecting things and I've been working in getting things organized in order to develop the sustainable and competitiveness, or the sustainable and the competitive destination of the future. And this time it's much more critical that we do that, because we need to reignite tourism, and we need to make sure that tourism destinations achieve competitive advantage through differentiation, they enhance their reputation, and they're maintaining their destination image. They need to nurture new business models, and they need to optimize their resources in order to maximize the benefits for their residents and their communities. This is something I've been saying ever since 2000, when I wrote the Marketing the Competitive Destination of the Future paper. That's probably the most cited paper in tourism in the world. But we need to learn how to look forward rather than to look backwards. And we need to understand that the past is quite often irrelevant. What we're facing is the end of planning and the beginning of agility. And the agility is quite complicated because of technology and because all the different players that are involved in these things. The good news is, of course, we're blessed with assets in terms of the product, the branding, the co-creation, the experience that we can do with local residents in order to differentiate experiences and provide authenticity. I think COVID has not actually influenced any of that. It was influenced how we are engaging with the different stakeholders online and offline. And I think this is what we need to do, using smart tourism to take things forward. So smartness takes advantage of interconnectivity and interoperability of integrated technologies to re-engineer process and data in order to produce innovative services, products, and process towards maximizing the value for all the stakeholders. It re-engineers the entire development of products, actions, process, and services in real time, and engage all the stakeholders simultaneously to optimize the collective performance and competitiveness and generate agile solutions and value for everybody who is involved. And you can see this development on this publication. Smartness is based on networks. It's about optimizing networks through interoperability and interconnectivity. And it's about using the Internet of Things and the Internet of Everything to connect everything. You remember what Steve Jobs was saying early on. And we need sensors and beacons. Sensors to collect information, and beacons to send out information. We need to analyze big data through data analytics in real time. We need to collect data from all kinds of sources, including social media, Web 2, and user-generated content. And we need to apply service-dominant logic to co-create the experience throughout everybody in the tourism industry. Smartness is not about automation, and it's not about digitization. It's not about evolution. It's not about social media or reservations. It includes all of those things, but it's actually the glue of interoperable and interconnected networks that they create mutually beneficial systems. In real time, we need dynamic and adaptive processes to provide customized, individualized, and contextualized value to consumers. And we need to look into the competitiveness and the co-creation of all the stakeholders towards co-creating value for all of them. There are some places that have done well. Recently, I was part of the jury for the European Commission for the European Capital of Smart Tourism, and Bordeaux in France and Spain and Valencia in Spain have actually awarded the title European Capital of Smart Tourism, because they're doing a whole range of very good activities to maximize the benefits. for their customers and for all the stakeholders. Now, we've done quite a lot of research on these things, and some of the papers I'd like to share with you is the one that we did with Daisy Fan about how consumers interact online and offline when they are at the destination. And that's really critical, because if we understand where people are interacting, we can engage with them in the right medium, and we can also create a typology of different travelers that they're using different ways of communicating. The minute we understand how they communicate, we provide the relevant kind of services for them. So you've got people that they are totally disconnected and they're going on digital detox, the people who are living daily life controllers, who are always always connected, always controlling everything they do. And then you've got a range of different typologies that you can see on the paper. Everything is based on big data, and we really need to understand how big data empower the agility for dynamic, volatile, and time-sensitive service industries like tourism and hospitality. We need to understand how to take advantage of data and provide real-time services to those people who are engaged with the sector. And this is what I call nowness. And nowness is taking advantage of location-based mentions, hashtags, sentiment analysis, trending topics, keyword tracking, and competitors to look into how everything is coming together in one particular place, in one location at one time. And what happens is that because real time and nowness is based on data-driven customer centricity, experience enhancement, real-time services, and co-creation, it provides instant gratification. And that instant gratification becomes a key value added. And this is what people make or break in the organization and determines their competitive advantage. So in the past, we had price or we had differentiation, but now increasingly we see real-time instant gratification as the force for competitive advantage, as the force for engaging people in real time and providing the right service to the right customer at the right time at the right price. Now, nowness is triggered by a range of different things that they may be happening at location, the context, and that creates the contextual relevance. And then the nowness is creating real-time service enablers where we see how we can address the needs that nowness is developing. And then the service enablers are creating value for the different stakeholders. Please have a look on this paper, because we've spent quite a lot of time explaining this in more detail, and I don't have the time for that. And then the next stage is ambient intelligence, where smart systems are included, embedded in everyday environments, propelling interconnectivity and interoperability of all the systems, vehicles, and devices through the internet of everything. So what's happening here is that everything is included, and things like artificial intelligence and machine learning provide ambient connectivity by using a range of different networks and operate autonomous vehicles, robotics, and anything else that's happening that they've got in their disposal. So what you have is you've got the customers right in the middle, where you've got customer centricity. Then you've got the Internet of Things, the Internet of Everything, you've got 5G, you've got RFID, you've got mobile devices, you've got apps, cryptocurrency, sensors and beacons, pervasive computing, gamification, and artificial intelligence and machine learning. This is really critical in terms of developing the real-time services that we talked about earlier, and understanding the context of the consumers, internal and external. So when you're looking to Tourism 2030, first of all, we need to focus on the Sustainable Development Goals and see how tourism can actually support each of those. And actually, tourism is engaged with each of those Sustainable Development Goals to provide support. And then when you're looking to the Tourism 2030, you see Tourism 2030 will be anthropocentric and agile. Anthropocentric in the sense that it's going to understand the needs and the requirements of people, and agile in terms of providing the right kind of services to the right persons, to the right person, co-creating value for everybody who is involved by optimizing all the network and optimizing all the resources we've got. Tourism 2030 will provide customer experience that will be authentic, adventurous, and aspirational. It will support digital ecosystems through ambient, autonomous, and augmented systems. We'll develop sustainable development through atmospherics, architecture, and adventurous kind of design. And the industry competitiveness will be supported through alliance, aggregation, and amalgamation. So these are the A's that they'll be leading us to 2030. And what you'll see is intelligence and agility will be right in the center. Then you've got inspire and innovate on both sides. So inspire will be, how can we inspire people to come and look into our products and services and engage with them. And innovation and innovate in the sense of how we're going to communicate, engage the customer, and fulfill that kind of requirement in terms of what the customers would like to experience. The tourism industry needs to be inclusive and international, and needs to include all kinds of markets and all kinds of segments in this process. And you'll see around the circle, you see all the different stakeholders that they're part of this intelligence network. We need to inspire consumers before, during, and after they are traveling. And we need to look into how we can develop the experience, how we can engage, personalize, individualize, and contextualize this experience by providing real-time satisfaction and by helping different markets, and particularly the aging, to be part of this. Innovation will be on all aspects of the innovation radar, and it needs to address all types of tourism industries and sectors to come together and develop these things. So we really need to look into offering innovations and process innovations, but also we need to look into where do we present our products in terms of distribution and presence, and who is our customer, and the customer will be driving a lot of those things. It's really important that we have equality, equity, and justice in this process. And the three things are interrelated, but not exactly the same. So we need to be able to provide justice, and we would like to be able to support them, address the causes of the inequality and inequity by removing all barriers and enabling everybody to be part of the tourism industry on a global basis. Naturally, it needs to be international. It needs to have research. We need to have impact. We need to have engaging our students and our staff towards the needs of the industry and develop this dynamic kind of conversation. So the vision is about intelligence, and it's all about anthropocentric and value-focused value co-creation that is using empathy and community to engage with all stakeholders. It's empowered by technology and connected with agile systems that they provide solutions in real time, and it's globally aware and focused and provide value through entrepreneurship and holistic activity in developing these things. And the important thing is that everything's in beta, everything's constantly changing, and everything's is improving. We need emotional intelligence, and we need to design these things with that in mind. And when I'm talking about these things, a lot of people think that it's going to happen sometime in the future. In fact, it's happening already. This is in Hangzhou in China, where this little fellow was following me and was co-creating value with me. And this is in Hong Kong, in a meal that we had with my associates. And this is where you see humans are not necessarily better than robots. So in this case, the photographer eliminated one of my colleagues who is there. You can only see his hands. And also this lady who was very good at cutting the dark. She was not very good at engaging and interacting with us. Whilst robots that you can see around, they're doing a much better job in engaging with customers. This is how they're doing tea or gelato in a place that's called Key 11 in Hong Kong, Key 11 Museum. And this robot is creating your drink. And once the robot has created your drink and served it, it starts a little dance. So it's not about technology, but it's all about agility. And this is something that happened to me at the Hangzhou Blossom Water Museum Hotel in China again, that this room attendant left a note to me and said, "Dear Professor Buhalis, that you want to speak tomorrow in order to better protect your throat, I specially prepare for you a candy." This is nothing to do with technology, but had all kind of the smart things that we're talking about. And I'm currently at the Hotel Icon, where we say we love to care and we care to love. And people understand the needs of consumers and addressing them. And this a picture some years ago when we're doing the training for this, it got the prize because this concierge ran towards the minibus to make sure that the kid was protected when it was raining. I know I've gone through a lot of things and a lot of discussions on those things. You'll find the references to the publications and the research we've been doing here, and you can see on my profile the latest information that's coming out. And also the latest book is on gamification for tourism, and it's addressing a lot of the things that we've discussed already. Thank you very much. I appreciate your attention, and I hope that I raised a lot of issues, and hopefully we'll be in touch. And this is my address, and this is how you can send me any questions or engage with me in the future. Thank you very much.